The galaxy stretched out in every direction, a boundless sea of stars and nebulas, each speck of light a potential adventure. For Jake Carter, this vast expanse was more than just his playground. It was home. As a seasoned explorer with the Galactic Survey Corps, he had charted unknown worlds, encountered bizarre life forms, and navigated through the treacherous void of space. Yet, despite his extensive travels, he never grew tired of the thrill that came with each new discovery. Jake's ship, the Stellar Voyager, hummed softly as it drifted through the orbit of Iliara, a forest moon known for its rich biodiversity. Iliara's surface was a tapestry of emerald greens and sapphire blues, a vibrant contrast to the inky blackness of space. Jake had been conducting a routine survey, mapping out the moon's flora and fauna, when he stumbled upon something extraordinary. He had landed his shuttle in a dense forest, the canopy above creating a kaleidoscope of shifting light and shadow. The air was thick with the scent of alien flowers, their petals glistening with morning dew. Jake moved cautiously through the underbrush, his senses alert to every sound and movement. It was then that he heard it. A soft, melodic chirping, unlike anything he had ever heard before. Curiosity piqued, Jake followed the sound to a small clearing where a creature unlike any he had encountered stood out among the foliage. It was about the size of a domestic cat, with fur that shimmered and changed color with the light, ranging from a deep midnight blue to a brilliant gold. Two delicate wings, translucent and iridescent, were folded neatly against its back. The creature looked up at Jake with large, expressive eyes that seemed to hold a spark of intelligence. "Well, hello there," Jake murmured, crouching down to get a closer look. The creature chirped again, tilting its head as if studying him just as intently. Jake extended a hand slowly, allowing the creature to sniff his fingers. After a moment of hesitation, it nuzzled his hand, emitting a series of soft, musical sounds. Jake smiled. "Where did you come from?" he asked, though he knew the creature couldn't answer. He scanned the area but saw no signs of other animals or anything that might suggest where this little being had originated. Deciding it was too unique to leave behind, he gently scooped the creature into his arms and made his way back to the shuttle. Once aboard the Stellar Voyager, Jake set the creature on the console. It immediately began to explore its new surroundings, fluttering its wings and chirping in apparent delight. Jake watched with fascination, already forming a plan to document and study this remarkable find. He spent the next several hours running scans and taking notes, but nothing in the Galactic Survey Corps database matched the creature's description. It was a complete mystery. As he worked, the creature seemed to grow increasingly agitated, its chirps turning into plaintive cries. It fluttered around the cockpit, finally settling on Jake's shoulder, where it nuzzled his neck. "Hey, it's okay," Jake said softly, stroking its fur. That evening, as the Stellar Voyager navigated through a dense asteroid field, the creature's distress grew. It made a series of high-pitched sounds, its wings fluttering frantically. Jake frowned, glancing at the radar. The path was treacherous, but he had navigated worse. He adjusted the controls, weaving through the asteroids with practiced ease, but the creature's anxiety only seemed to increase. "What's wrong, little buddy?" Jake asked, concern evident in his voice. He knew the creature was trying to communicate something, but without a translator, he was at a loss. He could only hope they would find answers soon. Days passed, and despite Jake's best efforts, he made little progress in understanding his new companion. He had almost resigned himself to the idea that it might remain a mystery when an urgent message from the Galactic Survey Quarters came through. The transmission was garbled, static, crackling over the comms, but he managed to decipher the critical parts. "Explorer Carter, this is Command. We've received intel that a rare and valuable creature has been reported missing from the royal palace of the Tyrians, a highly advanced and secretive alien race. The creature is believed to be a pet of Princess Lyra. If you have any information, proceed to the Tyrian homeworld immediately." Jake's heart skipped a beat. The Tyrians were known for their isolationist policies and advanced technology. Contact with them was exceedingly rare, and if this creature belonged to their princess, returning it could be a significant diplomatic opportunity. He turned to the creature, which was now perched on the console, looking at him with those large, intelligent eyes. "Hang on, little buddy," Jake said, determination in his voice. "We're going to take you home." He set a course for the Tyrian homeworld, his mind racing with possibilities. This mission could be the start of a new chapter in interstellar relations, and Jake was ready to rise to the challenge. The journey ahead was fraught with danger, but for Jake Carter, it was just another day in the vast, uncharted expanse of the galaxy. The little creature, which Jake had taken to calling Nyx, after the ancient goddess of night, due to its shimmering nocturnal fur, had nestled into a makeshift bed beside his console. Despite the initial excitement of their encounter, a palpable tension had settled over the ship. Nyx's intermittent chirping had grown infrequent, replaced by a soft, rhythmic breathing as it slept. Its tranquility, however, was a stark contrast to the turmoil unfolding in Jake's mind. His thoughts were abruptly interrupted by a crackling over the comm system. The console flickered to life, the screen scrambling with static as an encrypted message began to decode. The logo of the Galactic Survey Corps flashed momentarily before the urgent voice of Commander Tella resonated through the cabin. "Explorer Carter, this is Command." The voice was grave, each word underscored with urgency. "We've intercepted encrypted transmissions regarding a missing creature of significant importance. It has been identified as belonging to the royal family of the Tyrians, a species known for their reclusive and technologically advanced civilization. Your current coordinates suggest you may have encountered this entity. Confirm possession and proceed to the Tyrian homeworld with utmost discretion. This mission is now classified as top priority." The message, though expected, sent a shiver down Jake's spine. The Tyrians, a civilization shrouded in mystery and known for their immense power and secretive ways, were not known to engage lightly with outsiders. The fact that Nyx was of royal lineage added layers of complexity and danger to his unplanned adventure. Jake leaned back in his chair, rubbing his temples. "Great," he muttered to himself, "from explorer to intergalactic diplomat in one day." He glanced at Nyx, whose serene slumber seemed almost enviable at that moment. Setting aside his reservations, Jake initiated a deep scan of his ship, checking for any possible tracking devices or surveillance bugs that might have been planted during his recent stopovers. The Tyrians were notorious for their surveillance capabilities, and he couldn't risk being blindsided. Satisfied with the clean results, he turned his attention to plotting a course to Tyra, the Tyrian homeworld. The navigation system beeped a series of confirmations as Jake input the coordinates. The journey to Tyra was fraught with obstacles. The planet was nestled deep within a nebula known as the Veil of Shadows, a region rumored to be laced with spatial anomalies and electromagnetic storms. Piloting through it would require all of Jake's skill and the stellar Voyager's advanced navigation tech. As he prepared for the journey, Jake considered the implications of his mission. Returning Nyx could potentially open diplomatic channels with the Tyrians, offering the Galactic Survey Corps, and indeed, all of humanity. However, the risks were monumental. Any misstep in Tyrian territory could be seen as an act of aggression or espionage, punishable by measures he dared not contemplate. With the coordinates set, Jake initiated the jump to hyperspace. The stars stretched into lines of light as the stellar Voyager slipped into the faster-than-light travel mode, crossing distances that would take lifetimes to traverse at sublight speeds. As the ship hummed and shuddered, Jake felt a mix of exhilaration and apprehension. He was on his way to uncharted territory, both literally and diplomatically. Meanwhile, Nyx stirred from its slumber, its eyes blinking open to reveal orbs that seemed to reflect the star-streaked void outside. It chirped softly, sensing the shift in energy as the ship sailed through the cosmic currents. Jake reached over to gently stroke its head, finding comfort in the small creature's calm demeanor. "Hang tight, Nyx," he whispered. "We're in this together now." As the stellar Voyager emerged from hyperspace on the edge of the Veil of Shadows, Jake steeled himself for the challenges ahead. The nebula loomed large on the view screen, a swirling miasma of colors and light, beautiful yet menacing. He adjusted the ship's shields and sensors, preparing to navigate the treacherous path to Tyra. In the solitude of space, with a mission of immense consequence resting on his shoulders, Jake Carter found himself pondering the strange twists of fate that had led him here. Little did he know, his journey was about to become even more complicated, as the shadows of the nebula concealed not just natural dangers, but also prying eyes, watching his every move. The stellar Voyager's engines pulsed with a steady thrum as Jake aligned the ship's course with the navigational buoys that marked the safest route through the nebula. These were not the standard navigational aids found in most spacefaring routes, but peculiar Tyrian constructs that shimmered with an otherworldly glow, guiding travelers through safe passages carved out from the chaotic energies of the nebula. Inside the cockpit, Jake adjusted the sensors to their maximum sensitivity. The nebula was notorious for its spatial distortions, areas where the fabric of space twisted upon itself, creating pockets where the laws of physics were suggestions rather than rules. The console in front of him beeped intermittently as it detected and recalibrated based on fluctuating data, each alert a reminder of the precarious path he tread. Nyx, now awake and seemingly aware of their surroundings, watched intently as Jake maneuvered the ship. The creature's presence, once a mystery and a burden, had grown on Jake, providing a silent companionship that staved off the loneliness of space travel. Every so often, Nyx would emit a soft, harmonic tone, almost like it was trying to soothe the tension that had built up in the cabin. "Easy does it," Jake murmured, both to himself and to Nyx, as the stellar Voyager entered the nebula. The ship shuddered as waves of electromagnetic energy buffeted its shields. Jake's eyes remained glued to the readouts, adjusting the shield frequencies continuously to adapt to the nebula's capricious nature. As they delved deeper into the veil of shadows, a sensor alarm suddenly wailed, slicing through the low hum of the ship's operations. A massive energy spike had appeared directly in their path, an anomaly not recorded in any of his pre-flight briefings. Jake's hands flew over the controls, diverting power to the engines for a rapid evasive maneuver. The stellar Voyager banked sharply, stars streaking across the viewport in dizzying arcs as they narrowly avoided the energy spike, which erupted behind them in a brilliant display of light. Breathing heavily from the exertion, Jake couldn't help but feel a rush of adrenaline. It was the thrill of survival, of navigating through the unknown that had drawn him to this life. Nyx, fluttering its wings anxiously, chirped a flurry of notes that resonated oddly with the pulsating energies of the nebula. "Hold on, we're not out of this yet," Jake said, his voice firm with resolve. He reset the course, this time with even more caution, his eyes scanning the sensor displays for any more surprises. Hours passed as they made their slow, painstaking way through the nebula. Jake's focus never wavered, each alert attended to with swift precision. Finally, as they approached the boundary of the veil of shadows, the nebula began to thin, the chaotic energies dissipating and revealing the starry firmament beyond. It was there, in the relative calm at the edge of the nebula, that the Tyrian homeworld came into view. Tyra was a planet enveloped in mystery, its surface hidden by a thick, luminescent atmosphere that refracted the light of its star into shimmering, iridescent arcs. The sight was breathtaking, a reminder of the beauty and wonder that the universe held. However, the awe of the moment was short-lived. As they emerged from the nebula, a massive shadow detached itself from Tyra's orbit. A Tyrian warship, its sleek, silver form gliding silently towards them. The ship was an elegant blade against the backdrop of space, its design both beautiful and menacing. A voice crackled over the comm, authoritative and cold. "Unidentified vessel, you have entered Tyrian space without authorization. State your purpose or be prepared to face consequences." Jake took a deep breath, steadying his nerves. "This is Explorer Jake Carter of the Galactic Survey Corps. I come in peace, bearing a member of your royal family's missing fauna. I request permission to proceed to the surface." There was a tense pause, the silence stretching out as Jake awaited a response. Nyx seemed to sense the gravity of the situation, its body tense and its eyes fixed on the forward screen. Finally, the voice returned, slightly less icy than before. "Transmit your credentials and the creature's verification data. Stand by for instructions." Complying, Jake transmitted the necessary data, his hands steady despite the uncertainty that clouded his mind. He glanced at Nyx, hoping that their journey, fraught with danger and uncertainty, would soon find a resolution. As the data transmitted, the Tyrian warship held its position, a silent sentinel awaiting confirmation from its commanders. Jake and Nyx, together in the cockpit of the stellar Voyager, watched and waited, the fate of their mission hanging in the balance as stars continued their eternal dance outside the viewport. The royal palace of Tyra was a marvel of alien architecture, its structures rising organically from the planet's surface, as if they were as much a part of the natural landscape as the towering trees and flowing rivers that marked the terrain. The buildings were crafted from materials that shimmered with an iridescent sheen under Tyra's twin suns, reflecting hues of purple and blue that danced like light on water. Jake Carter, stepping through the threshold, felt as if he had entered a realm where technology and nature existed in perfect harmony. Escorted by the Tyrian guards, Jake walked along a path lined with exotic plants whose leaves whispered in the gentle breeze, emitting soft luminescent glows. The air was fragrant with a sweet, spicy aroma that Jake guessed was from the delicate flowers blooming in abundance. He was led through an enormous archway into the main hall of the palace, a vast chamber whose ceiling arched high above, embedded with crystals that cast prismatic light across the intricately tiled floor. At the far end of the hall, seated upon a throne that seemed to have been carved out of a single massive gemstone, was Princess Liara. She was a vision of otherworldly beauty. Her skin was a soft, silvery blue that radiated a subtle glow, and her hair, long and flowing, shimmered with a spectrum of colors that changed as she moved. Her eyes, when they met Jake's, were deep, violet, wise, and penetrating, yet filled with a kindness that eased his nerves. Explorer Carter, her voice echoed softly in the hall, melodious and soothing. You have brought us great joy by returning Nyx to us. Approach. Jake moved forward, aware of every step as he approached the princess. Nyx, perched on his shoulder, chirped excitedly, fluttering its wings as it recognized its home. As he stopped before the throne, Nyx flew from Jake's shoulder to the princess, who extended her arms with a smile of pure joy. The creature circled her once, then nestled into her outstretched hands, its chirps turning into a soothing purr. Thank you, Jake Carter, Princess Liara said, her gaze locking onto his. Your actions have shown great courage and kindness. We are deeply grateful. Jake bowed slightly, feeling the weight of her gaze. The princess smiled, and for a moment the formalities seemed to melt away, revealing a glimpse of the person behind the title. Please, tell us about your journey. How did you come to find Nyx? Jake recounted his tale, from the discovery on Ilyara to the harrowing trip through the Veil of Shadows. The princess listened intently, her expression one of fascination and gratitude. As he spoke, the stern faces of the Tyrian guards seemed to soften, the air in the room growing warmer with the unfolding story. When he finished, the princess rose from her throne, her presence commanding yet gentle. You have not only returned a beloved member of our family, but also demonstrated the potential for friendship and understanding between our peoples. She gestured to the guards, who, at her nod, retreated, leaving Jake with a sense of relief. The princess then led him through a series of winding pathways that opened up to a breathtaking garden. The setting suns painted the sky in strokes of orange and pink, casting a warm glow over everything. This is one of my favorite places, she said, walking alongside him. Here, I feel connected to the essence of Tyra. I believe that every life, no matter how small, contributes to the harmony of the universe. Jake listened, captivated not only by her words, but by the sincerity in her voice. They walked for a while, discussing their worlds, their cultures, and the possibilities that this new connection could bring. As the evening drew on, the princess stopped by a small pond, the water reflecting the twin suns like a mirror. Jake, your actions have opened a door that has long been closed. In recognition of your bravery and in the hope of future collaboration, we would like to offer you a place here as an envoy of your people. Stunned, Jake took a moment to process her words. It was an incredible offer, one that carried the weight of potential change for many. I'm honored, Princess Liara. Truly I am. I think this is the beginning of something amazing. The princess nodded, her eyes alight with shared excitement. I believe so too, Jake. Let us look forward to the future together. In the royal gardens of Tyra, under the light of fading suns, a new alliance was born, one that promised not only diplomatic relations, but the exchange of knowledge and friendship. It was a testament to the power of kindness and the unexpected journeys that could change the course of galaxies. As the stars began to appear in the twilight sky, Jake felt a profound sense of purpose and possibility. Here, on this alien world, a new chapter of his life was beginning, filled with the promise of adventure and connection. The days following Jake Carter's official appointment as an envoy were filled with a whirlwind of activities. Each morning began with the soft, melodious calls of Tyrian birds, their songs weaving through the open windows of his quarters, which overlooked the sprawling gardens of the royal palace. The palace itself was a masterpiece of living architecture. Its walls and structures blended seamlessly with the natural environment, almost as if they had grown organically from the ground. Jake found himself immersed in a world of wonder. The Tyrians, under Princess Liara's guidance, were eager to share their knowledge and culture with him. Each day brought new lessons in their advanced technology, which harmoniously combined nature and science in ways he had never imagined. The bioluminescent trees that powered their devices, the water systems that were both irrigation and communication networks, and the crystal interfaces that responded to mental commands. It was all breathtaking. Amidst this exchange of knowledge, Jake and Princess Liara spent a great deal of time together, discussing potential diplomatic ties and collaborative projects between the Galactic Survey Corps and Tyra. Their conversations often wandered from formal discussions to more personal exchanges, where they shared stories of their pasts and hopes for the future. It was during these moments that Jake realized how deeply he respected and admired the princess, not just as a leader, but as a person. One crisp evening, as the twin suns of Tyra dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow over the land, Jake and Liara walked through the Zenith Gardens. This part of the palace grounds was known for its spectacular views of the planet's rings, which appeared as shimmering bands of light stretching across the sky. As they walked, Liara stopped by a particularly striking flower, its petals glowing with a soft light. "This is the Luminara," she explained, her fingers gently caressing the petals. "It blooms in the light of our suns and sleeps under the stars. It's a reminder of the cycles of life and light, of darkness and renewal." Jake listened, captivated by the metaphor and the quiet strength in her voice. He found himself drawn to her philosophy, her vision of a universe interconnected and thriving on the mutual respect and understanding between its countless inhabitants. "Princess Liara," he began, his voice slightly hesitant, "I've been thinking a lot about our discussions, about the universe, about us. There's so much potential here, not just for our people, but for others too." Liara turned to face him, her violet eyes reflecting the last light of the day. "I believe so too, Jake. The alliance we are forming, it's more than just a treaty. It's a beacon of hope, a chance for us to show the galaxy that cooperation can bring about greater good than conflict." Encouraged by her words, Jake took a deep breath, gathering his thoughts. "I want to propose something. A conference, perhaps, where leaders from various planets can come together, share knowledge, resources, even culture. Taya could be the host, the neutral ground." Lyra's face lit up with the idea, her smile like the dawn of Tyra's suns. "That's a wonderful idea, Jake. An interstellar symposium right here in the heart of Tyra. We could pave the way for a new era of galactic diplomacy." As they resumed their walk, the idea began to take shape, growing with each step they took. They discussed potential invitees, topics of discussion, and even cultural events that could accompany the symposium. The excitement between them was palpable, a shared vision that extended far beyond the paths of the Zenith Gardens. Later that night, as Jake looked out from the balcony of his quarters, he felt a profound connection to the universe. The stars above, each a distant world, seemed closer somehow, as if the very cosmos was aligning with their hopes. Beside him, Nyx chirped softly, a reminder of the serendipitous events that had brought him to this moment. In the royal palace of Tyra, under a canopy of stars, a new alliance was forged, not just between two people or two planets, but potentially between multiple worlds. With Princess Lyra by his side, Jake felt ready to face whatever challenges came their way. Together, they would not just navigate the complexities of interstellar diplomacy, but would also explore the deeper connections that bound all beings in the galaxy. This was more than diplomacy. It was the beginning of a new chapter in the history of the cosmos, one filled with promise, hope, and the endless possibilities of the stars.